Hello and welcome. This is Crossing Bridges, the talk show. I'm Larry Montgomery, Sr., the host. This is my co host, William, and my special guest today, Yasmin. Okay. So I'll let both of you introduce yourselves. William.
Ladies first.
Gotta say,
Ladies first.
oh,
Oh,
ladies first. Okay, the guest first. Okay.
okay. Well, my name is Yasmin. I don't know what else you guys want me to say. Um,
Okay.
uh-oh. My mom's trying to video call me. But my name's Yasmin. I'm from San Jose, California, and that's pretty much it for right now. I'm a mother. I do live with my son's father, and we are great parents. We're a young couple, and we're just very blessed to have each other.
Great.
And,
William.
well, I'm gonna be less descriptive. I've been here for a while, but I'm William Lamont Montgomery. Son of Larry Montgomery Sr. And it's a pleasure to be here. And as my niece, Yasmin, I would like to welcome her to the show today.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you.
so this week we wanted to talk about, and I'm expecting at least one more guest, I hope. We want to talk about holidays. And again, we always try to keep a Christian perspective here. We're not preachers, although I am an ordained minister. But we like to talk about things and keep a Christian perspective on it. But we understand that life is life, and people do what people do because we all have free will. And so I was talking to my other son, Larry, the other day, and we were talking about the holidays. We talked about the holidays last week and having a conversation with your children about it because one of the points that was made was I think I was coming from the perspective of sometimes you don't have the money for the holiday, to buy gifts and all kinds of stuff like that there. And so how do you handle that conversation? A lot of people just ignore it and walk away or whatever. But it is a part of the father's responsibility to have that conversation so that the child understands because they only know what they see and what they hear. They may not know the reasons behind it. And it's always good to have that kind of conversation. So one of the points that was made was, um, do you tell the truth or do you kind of try to hedge your bet a little bit? And we were talking about Thanksgiving or whatever. And then William brought up the fact that about Christmas, because Christmas is a big holiday. And we quickly learn as children that on Christmas Day, there's going to be presents, there's going to be a tree, there's going to be big dinner, and on and on and on and on. And some years are thin years, some years that don't happen. And so what do? You ignore it or you have the conversation, well, this year is going to be a little tight. You may not get your gift. I got a gift in mind for you, but you may not see it until next week. And then the other perspective, which one that was pointed out, was how does the child feel? I can't remember back, and I couldn't honestly tell you that every Christmas I had a gift, but I don't remember way back when I was 5 years old or whatever. But I could certainly appreciate a child coming to school the week after Christmas and everybody asking, well, what did you get? And some of them may not have gotten anything, but you don't know, you only know what they tell you. So now the child is in a bad position if they didn't get anything and they're not comfortable telling their friends that, well, I'm going to get my present UPS. The truck broke down, but it'll be here next week type thing. So you really have to have the conversation so they can first off understand, and secondly, realize what they're going to be faced with probably when they come to school. And a lot of times as a parent, you gloss over that or you forget that because the child, like I said earlier, the child only knows what they see and what they hear. Did I miss anything, Will?
I mean, those are pretty much the things we touched on. It's also, the holidays is also a time for, having your family know more about you. I mean, we know each other, but we don't know, each other's feelings or certain things. Being able to grow with your family is important too, as well with your children.
Yeah. So, did you have a comment you'd like to make, Yasmin? You're on mute.
We don't have your.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'd have prepared. Right now, I think once we get a little bit more into depth, I will definitely have a comment because I was raised kind of like on both ends. I guess I can get into it a little bit. My grandmother, my grandparents, the person that she had married, I had a great Christmas. Like my Christmas presents were like to the top of the tree. If I wanted an iPod, I was getting the iPod. Like whatever was popular that year, I definitely got, and it always said that it was from Santa.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just being at my grandparents' house. At my mom's, it's like we did have a Christmas tree a couple of times, but it was real clear to me that like ain't no white man coming into my grandma's house. Or especially not my mom's house, and they're not playing those games. But my nana always said it was from Santa, and I just play the role. And then with my mom, she ain't no white man coming down the chimney. We don't even have a chimney.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Because I know that my parents, my family are my providers. I was very appreciative of what I had and what I could get, and I wasn't ever upset that I didn't get something I didn't want. I mean that I did have, or that I wanted. There we go. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's just a piece.
Well, that's good. And I think that for those who may be listening and watching or whatever at some time, life is life. It's real. If you have it and you want to give it, that's great. If you don't have it, you might want to take a moment and try to consider the others that are involved in your household, because while you personally may not want to, let's say, celebrate Christmas, everybody else in the household may have a different opinion, and yeah, okay, you're the adult and you what you say goes. But now you've kind of set the stage for that particular child, teenager, whatever, to say, well, look, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to do me. I'm going to do it my way, which is fine, but you don't want to do it begrudgingly because they were, not allowed to do. And that's the hard part. And I say that because you grow up, excuse me, my voice is getting rusty, but you grow up and everything comes from your parents. Even your understanding of religion comes from your parents, only because you don't know anything, and that's life. But then as life unfolds in front of you, you may have a different opinion about something. You may have questions that maybe your parents didn't ask before they bought into a particular situation. Me and William, we have two different political backgrounds, and up until now, when we actually had a conversation about it, never came up, and some things you're passionate about, some things you're not passionate about, and things like religion, politics, money, people you love, those are topics that usually people are very passionate about, and they have an opinion about whatever. And when you're grown, you definitely have an opinion that you probably want to stick with until you get convinced otherwise. Yeah. But you want to be able to have the conversation and have it from the perspective of, I'm not telling you what to do. Have from the perspective of, well, this is how I feel, this is how I see it, this is what I know, whatever. And then if you have something to offer that would be different, or a caution or something like that, there, you would hope that it's respected. That's all. I mean, you can't make grown people do what you want them to do, but you would hope that there's at least, let's just say, before I continue to do something, let me get some more information. I have my own opinion, my own experience, but then there's a reason why old people are still around. You see, you can always learn something from them, good, bad, or indifferent, because they've been there and they've done that. Now, yeah, things have changed. You know, we no longer have dial-up telephones. So, we now have Google. Before we used to have, what was that, encyclopedias, to go find information on. But even with Google, and me and William have had this conversation, you could put something in a search in, and the first thing that pops up might be the most popular answer, but it's not necessarily the answer, you see. And so sometimes you have to go down the page and to the next 2 or 3 pages to really get a full perspective. That's my point. And so with old people or older people, you want to give them a little respect. You don't have to always agree, but then there's a way to disagree. Slamming the phone down and walking away is probably not going to be, a lot of help. But you make your point. I know that. And so let me stop dribbling on. And she left. She popped out. Okay, maybe she'll come back. So anyway, Larry had brought up the topic of, should Christians, here we go. You back?
Yes, I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Okay. And so I was just saying that Larry had brought up the topic of should Christians celebrate holidays? And clearly, that was an interesting question to me.
Okay.
Being a Christian, is just, you just assume certain things and go along with certain things. Okay. But at some point in life, you actually ask questions. And at some point in life, sometimes things come up and you say, that's a good question. I never thought about that. So I wanted him to be here to hear this conversation, but, we could talk about it.
Okay.
Does either of you have a comment you'd like to make about, let's just say, Christians celebrating holidays?
I personally, as I'm getting older, I could care less for it. Like Thanksgiving, we're giving thanks to each other. I give thanks to my family every day. Every time I'm praying for them, I know they're praying for me. Giving gifts, like random stuff. Somebody just moved into an apartment. Oh, let's go take pictures. Like my baby cousin, she just turned 19 and we got her into her first apartment. And my other cousin brought us all 3 matching shirts. Like we're celebrating. It's something to give thanks for. We're appreciative of each other, that it takes a village every time. My grandmother watching my son when I have to commute, or my mom, my brothers, my siblings, it's giving each other a piece of the pie. Like, you want to go shopping, you want to do this, like we're always giving to each other. So I was going to actually stay home on Thanksgiving this year. I went to work and I picked up some holiday pay and time and a half, and I slept for 3 hours. I was like, I guess I'm gonna go get me a plate. Like, y'all already cooking, I'll go get a plate. But I would care less. Like, it would just be an off day for me. Easter, I don't know. That's kind of hard for me to break away from. We're definitely gonna go to church, but Easter egg hunting and the bunnies, and where does that even come from?
Well, that's a good question, where they come from. A lot of the holidays that are celebrated, let's just talk about here in the U.S., may have some roots in what they call pagan situations, okay? And we may not necessarily have all of the background earnestly. Stories have been passed around or whatever. I mean, I used to hear the story about Christmas when we're talking about some old guy in Switzerland or something like that. They used to make toys and would give them out to the kids in the neighborhood or whatever. And they said, oh, that's how Christmas started. Well, okay. Where did the sleigh come from and the reindeer? I guess they added that on.
Yeah.
But from a Christian perspective, I think it just kind of really don't have a full answer for it, because the Bible doesn't tell us when Christ was born.
Right.
And most of us are comfortable with the fact that Christmas is the season, Christ is the reason for the season, sorry. And so to be politically correct, a lot of people use the Xmas as opposed to Christmas, or they'll say Christmas. Everybody's got their own political whatever. And so since the Bible doesn't tell us the date that he was born, we'll work with it. Then there's the other theory that the people at Macy's decided that, hey, we need to sell some goods on this day.
Yeah.
Let's make a big party, call it Christmas, and go for it, which could work. Doesn't mean it's true, but,
it doesn't make sense, because that's when it just kind of becomes a confusion thing. Like, okay, we're talking about this man all the way in Switzerland. Okay, he's giving out toys and presents. Okay, where is this Christmas tree coming from? Why are we decorating? Why is it specific colors? And where did the reindeer come from? Like, it's too much. It's confusing, so it doesn't make sense. And I'm not a Bible stomper person. I do enjoy the word. I have not read my entire Bible, but I heard that when it's confusion, it's the devil. So we ain't gonna play them games.
Well, confusion is not a good thing. However, when you do come across a question, it's always a good thing to go and look it up. And again, when you go to look it up, you look at the resource that you're looking at to make sure that it's legitimate, because everybody has an agenda when they write something.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they wrote it. And so you might want to get 2 or 3 different sources to kind of get a perspective and hope that you got the truth out of one of them.
Yeah.
But from a Christian perspective, I think the point I'd like to make is that to celebrate it, whether you believe in the fact that it's the 25th of December that Christ was born, that's a separate item.
Okay.
That can be researched or whatever. And right now, no one has that date, so they don't know. We don't really know. But the point of it, for people to be able to come together and to appreciate family, appreciate life, appreciate, God, and the fact that his son was born, even though we don't know about the date. We'll leave that part out. We'll just go with the overall perspective that this is the day that we celebrate Christ, and that we give gifts and we give thanks. Okay. Is there anything wrong with that? Not really.
Exactly.
And the Bible doesn't say that it's wrong to do that. So, but it does want you to understand that there's a reason, understand what we're doing here. You say, because I'm in Rome, I do what Romans do. We have that conversation, and that's a falsehood. But we do what we have to do sometimes to survive. And again, we can have a whole conversation about being committed to something and not being committed. You see, because back then in the Bible days, if you will, you say, well, in Rome, you do what Romans do. Well, there are a lot of Roman homosexuals.
Mm.
And that's clearly against the teaching in the Bible. And so if you're a Christian and you went to Rome, what are you going to do?
Not what the Romans do.
Right. Right. And there's a story in there, and I'm trying to think of the name. But okay, there's a story in there about the guys who came to somebody's house and wanted to have relations with their guests. There's a lot of stuff. But if you believed in the when in Rome, do what the Romans do, you would have had to give in.
Yeah.
But in the Bible, that particular story, and I'll look it up for next week. I'll have it,
What is Sodom and Gomorrah, Dad?
I'm sorry?
Sodom and Gomorrah. That's the story.
Simon and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Solomon. Did you say Solomon? Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, I think that's exactly where it was. And so, and then they left town, and don't look back type of thing. And she looked back, and okay. So we got that.
Okay.
But there was a whole mess. A whole mess.
Yeah.
Because people were walking around here just agreeing with what it is everybody else is agreeing with. That
Right.
not necessarily makes a lot of sense. But anyway, other holidays, let's just talk about Thanksgiving. I did look that up. And because I had learned in school about Thanksgiving that the Pilgrims and the Indians had come together and that, they shared food and life was good. And then we took their land and we killed off all the men.
Exactly.
And they're now relegated to the reservation. And life is good. But that wasn't the whole story. And so what I did learn, and I'll just give it a quick overview, is that the settlers came, and after the first year, almost half of them had died. Because they didn't know what they were doing. Okay. And so I think a ship came, because it wasn't like no one had ever been to America. People had been here before. And so you have that question about, well, if Columbus discovered America, why is it not named Columbia and it's named America?
Right.
Because America Vespucius had come before him. Okay. So that, when the question just came up, you looked it up and then, oh, here's the answer. But in school, they tell us something totally different. But back to Thanksgiving. So half of them had died from weather, whatever, animals or whatever. Obviously, they didn't have much of a relationship with the Indians. And at that particular time, when they had decided to have this Thanksgiving celebration, these settlers had found a little area that they could live in, that they were kind of hedged from being attacked by the animals, and that the Indians were not in that particular place. So it's like, it's free land. It's just here, open. And so we'll settle here. And then after all these people had died, there was about 100 of them, or 40 of them had died. And so a ship came with goods, and the settlers figured out that they could trade seeds to get pelts, to keep them warm. So they celebrated the fact that they were just about to die themselves, that the ship did come and they were able to, come up. So they decided to have a little food or whatever. And some Indians came by. They saw what they were doing and they brought them some food. So now it's a big celebration. It's a little group of Indians, because there's only about 50 settlers at that point. And the settlers, and they sat down and they eat and everything is nice and all that there. Then the settlers lost their mind and here we are. Okay. So, but Thanksgiving was what was left, and as you know, the actual date wasn't even identified until about 100 years later, that they decided to have it in November. And then they finally decided after another, I think in either the late 1800s or early 1900s, to actually make it an official holiday and make it a date for it. So it's interesting, how things kind of unfold, but life is life, things were happening before we got here. Things happen while we're here. And I guarantee you things will be happening when we leave here, and not all of it's going to be good, but it is what it is. So, and that's the conversation I'm going to have with Larry, but I'll be reading it from the, my papers here.
Okay.
You might want to get a different version of the Thanksgiving story, Dad, though, because the Indians were actually helping them out after they did die off. They actually taught them how to plant foods and make those pelts. And Thanksgiving did come up later on, but it wasn't they just showed up there with food, but they actually had more into it with helping the pilgrims. Before, like after the first year when they started dying off, that's when the Indians came in there and started teaching them how to hunt and make pelts and make coats and shoes and things of that nature, and teach
Right.
them how to plant and live off the land and stuff like that.
Survive.
So they actually had more of an impact on the Pilgrims than
Yeah,
just showing up at Thanksgiving.
yeah. No, I'm not glossing over what really happened, but I'm just trying to hit the highlight and keep it moving. Um, you know, because it really wasn't something that they had planned to do. And if you walk away from the table thinking that some people got together and planned it, and I think that that was the impression that the historians wanted you to walk away with when they said that, well, Thanksgiving, the Indians and the Pilgrims came together. That wasn't quite the case. They decided to come over, and you were doing something. We decided to come over and, throw a little something in the pot. You know, wasn't that we really liked you, because you sure enough turned your back on us real quick. We here and then you show up and now it's yours.
Hmm.
How's that work out? As if you came to my house and tried that, it would be a whole different situation, But anyway, not to take away, but the thing is, for fathers to understand that, yeah, it's a conversation that should be had. And whatever truth that you can put your hands on, bring it to the table, and let's look at it, see what it is. So that was that.
Okay.
So your son is how old?
He's 3.
3.
Yes.
Mr. Terrible Twos, huh?
No, we had that.
Oh
We
yeah.
had the terrible 2s, and now we're in the treacherous 3s,
Mhm.
terrorizing everything. It's okay though.
He
I
kind
still
of chatty.
and he's a daddy's boy, so I don't get any of it. His dad gets it. So
But that'll turn around soon. Yeah. Who's going to take him to school this morning? Yeah.
we go opposite ways. He
Oh, yeah.
goes towards Napa, and I go towards Silicon Valley.
Mhm. Okay. So, you were talking about getting married, huh?
Of course. Of course.
You are?
Yeah.
I know you were married.
No, we're going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not married yet. We can
Okay.
give him a little 2 more years or so. He needs to get some money to get my ring. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Gotta have the ducats in line to get to the thing.
We're doing really good though. We really
Show me that I want you. Okay, that's good. And so you guys are going to stay in California, or you don't know?
I don't know. I would really like to go out of state. He wants to be really close to his parents still. Or not really close, but like now that I got him away out of the city, he likes it. He's enjoying it. So it's just a baby step. Maybe I can't get him out of state, but if we stay in California, I'm thinking about San Diego.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So a couple of years now before you get married.
Definitely.
Okay.
We want to save up to get a home in order. We got our credit together real fast, actually, faster than I expected. So I'm really excited about that. We're always on the phone like, babe, check your credit score. Babe, look, I went up 93 points. Babe, I got 60. Oh my God. Like, we're super ecstatic about that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
Not crazy. It's something important though, because a lot of people don't do that, and they wait till, I didn't even get my credit up till I was almost out the military.
Oh
Where
my
I
God.
wasn't even thinking about it. So,
Yeah.
stuff to do.
Well, you can always get a book and get some, insights as to some of the techniques that are used to kind of speed up the process.
We purposely try to finance stuff just so we can get it to go up. And then it's like, okay, I can only do 1 credit card because I know I like to spend money. He has 2. He's going to try to get back down to 1. But we're always just like switching off on money. Like just everything that we do, we break bread together. It's always 50-50 on everything, whatever it is. So
You have a budget?
I budget like every day. No, literally every day. I'm at work, like, okay, I just spent $100 and I'm gonna have leftover. Okay, we have rent here. I have my credit card paid off like always, just so in case I have to use that money, it's there.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I do pretty good. I don't know about him.
Okay, because we did have
Gotta
a
work on it.
conversation, a show on credit and money management type of a thing, and so just to to offer a little information, because you're gonna do what you're gonna do anyway. I understand that. If you sit down and put together a written budget, and let's just say for 6 months,
Mhm.
okay, when you sit down and you go through that exercise, and you see, and all the questions start to come up, and there's things in that there, and then the dreams start to come, whatever, and then you have those conversations as to, well, what are you thinking?
Mhm.
What are you thinking? What do you like? What do you want, or whatever? And now we can focus on, well, I can work with you and help you get what you want, and then I can work with you and help you get what you want. So we're not, one person is not dominating.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that we are both trying to get to a particular place in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And that might just be buying a new refrigerator.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, it's something as simple as that. Or it could be buying a house, whatever the plan is. And so you sit down, you go through the process, and you write your numbers down and everything like that there, and you see. And then as things start to go forward, you see your success.
Mhm.
And it's not just, well, I'm working hard every day and I'm doing the right thing. And then, oh, you slipped. Now that's a problem because that affected me. I
Mhm.
have a dream too. I
Mhm.
want to get some, I want to get a fur coat, whatever. And, and
Funny. I want to get a fur coat.
but, I mean, as a couple,
Yeah.
and then you want to get married at some point, and you really, you're going to get married to somebody. You want to have that conversation of what does marriage mean to you and what does it mean to him?
Mhm.
Because sometimes, not sometimes, all of the time, there's two different perspectives.
Mhm.
Not a bad thing. It's just two different perspectives. I'm sure you might like to cook and he might like to eat. But then there may be days you don't want to cook. Does that mean he shouldn't eat?
Right.
Right. He should learn how to cook. Okay. Because
It's
some
the
days
opposite
you
for
may
us.
not want to cook.
'Cause I like to bake, but he likes to cook. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I could cook. And I'm like, okay. And then if I see he's tired, I'm like, oh, would you like some Chinese? Some pizza? Because we're not gonna starve. And then I know what I can and I know what I cannot do. So my go-to is like obviously pasta. But I love me some salmon. I will have us eat salmon for like 2 weeks straight. So
Okay.
but I'm trying to get these little West Indian recipes from my mom, and she's holding out on me. I think she's doing it on purpose.
She used to put up stuff on Facebook, some of the dishes that she made, you know.
Yeah, when she makes, she won't tell you the recipe though.
Yeah.
I'll be like, Mom, how do I do this? And she's like, oh, you could just gotta watch. You gotta come in the kitchen. I don't know. I was like, just say you want to spend time with me. Just say that. So I have to go get some oxtails for next weekend because I want some oxtails and I have to learn how the seasoning that she does, how long she cooks it for, some Jamaican rice, the fried plantain. I have to do all of that. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna come in the kitchen. I'm gonna buy everything. You just sit down and tell me what you want me to do because that's how I learn.
Well, how are you going to know what to buy unless
Huh?
you have a recipe?
No, she has the seasonings at home already. And then if I need to get anything else, I'll have to call her. Like I know if I need oxtails, I gotta go get some oxtail.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna be stepping my cooking game up soon though, because I'm not gonna keep eating baked chicken. This man loves him some chicken.
Okay. Well, listen, you could always have your what's your boyfriend's name?
Alvin.
Alvin. Okay. He could always come on the show and, maybe learn something. I don't know.
I would love that. I was thinking about that, but I didn't want to just interrupt him. Like, come here real fast. Because you said the conversation was about fathers talking to their kids about this stuff. So I was just like, I'm not a father. But I wanted to pull him aside, but I was like, I'm gonna just let you guys go ahead.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be one of the problems in this country is a majority of black men have children with women and do not father the children, be the father there.
Mhm.
Me and your mother had that conversation. Okay. I had to, earnestly, explain myself. I couldn't justify myself,
Yeah.
but I could explain, what my error was, and, that's something that you got to live with. Once you do it, you can't go back in time and fix it, but at least me having that conversation in front of my son or with my son, he has an opportunity to say, well, if I'm ever confronted with this, I can understand, well, my father went through that, and that might not be something I want to go through. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it differently.
Right.
And if he did make the mistake, he knows that, it was real. My father made that mistake.
Yeah.
I made that mistake. But my son, no, it ain't going to happen again. So the pathology, the pattern
Yeah.
can be broken. And that's one of the benefits that we want
It's
from
the
the
generational curses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, he could come on. He may have some stuff to add. You may just want to listen in or whatever. I don't know.
Him to come
The
on
door is open.
do that because he has his father and he has his godfather, and subconsciously they're kind of at competition with each other.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, to me, in my eyes, an outsider looking in, like we recently went through like he works for the state government, my boyfriend does, and so there was an incident and he had a mild concussion. And so when we were at the ER, his dad was waiting to pick him up, but his godfather picked him up. And his dad, I could see it in his face that he was hurt by that. Like, that's my son, but it's just due to the past. Like, that's the person that he relies on. He calls on is his godfather. And him and his father is married to his mom. They have, a relationship, but it's their little thing. So I think it would be nice for him to come on and talk about that.
Yeah. That's fine. Things like that happen, and, obviously there's a reason that it happened and it's playing out the way it's playing out. To give you a quick example that I had a chance to talk with my son about is when my father died. I didn't have a great relationship with him. Usually like, well, that's dad over there, and would I call him? No. But would I think about calling him? Yeah. But never pick up the phone. So anyway, when he finally died, my sisters and my brothers, they had an opinion about him. Dad he was a nurse, he was an ad or whatever. And, I just looked at him and I said, yeah, I'm the oldest and I've seen him longer than you. And I tell you, he did the best he could with what he had because his father wasn't a great father. You see, so now you see what it is. The child, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You just walked in and like everything is going on, and I expected or I assumed that it's going to be okay. But people have their problems, and a lot of times their problems spill over on other people. And there's no book that says, well, this is how you're supposed to do this. On this day, you're supposed to do that. We all kind of learn from what we've seen.
Yes.
And so you got a bad example, you saw a bad movie. Hopefully you get a grip on it and you say, well, I'm not happy with doing that kind of thing. I'm not going to do what my parents did. My parents just smoke.
Yeah.
I don't smoke.
That's my boyfriend. He's the same thing. He doesn't drink or smoke.
Right. You see? So we have the power to say, well, that I'm not going to do. I made up my own mind. I'm not going to do that. And yeah, the devil is going to tempt you because he knows that that's something that you have been involved in. You have seen it. You have walked in the apartment and there's been smoke all over the place and you can't get away from it. But when you get your own place, now you sit back and you say, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And that's not going to happen. I don't even have friends that smoke. Because if it's a friend, you should be able to go visit them.
Mm-hmm.
And they should be welcome at your house. Or there may be a part-time friend or what they call it, a good timing friend. Anytime I got money, they show up. That's the kind of friend I got. And so no, real friends, they treat you with respect. You treat them with respect. You learn from them. And let me say this real quick. If you ever believe that what's happening in your circle could be more, find yourself a new friend.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because people get comfortable with the people that they're around.
Yeah.
I'm around a friend. He don't have a car, so where's my motivation to get a car?
Yeah.
I want a car. Get a friend who's got a car.
Right.
They'll motivate me to get a car because they'll tell me sooner or later why am I always doing the driving?
Mm-hmm.
When you gonna get a car so we can drive around, type of a thing. And so you want to be rich? Find yourself some rich friends.
One thing I love absolutely so much about my mom is just when I was younger, like I was in middle school, and she was just like, I had this group of girlfriends, and they were all Black, and it was a new school for me because I was in middle school. But my mom always told me, you want to be surrounding yourself with like-minded people. I'm like, she's just like me. We do this and we do that and everything's the same. But, just getting older, it's like, oh, they stealing? Oh, they smoking? Oh, they drinking? Boyfriends. I wasn't looking at boys until I was like 15, but my 11 and 12-year-old friends were like, oh, I got a boyfriend. I'm like, a boyfriend? And he's in jail. What? Like, it was just too much. But going into high school, my scene of friends changed again. I had like my best friend that I went to elementary school with, and then I went to school, the right school that I was supposed to go to. I graduated with all the people I literally grew up with. But going into college, my friends are just consistently changing. And then being an adult, it's like, I seriously want to be around girls who are just like me. Like, the way that you carry yourself. I moved one of my close girlfriends into the apartments that I'm at. She's 2 floors below me. We're no longer friends anymore.
Okay.
Because she doesn't know how to pick and choose her battles. And I'm the right one, but the wrong one, because I like to communicate, but you're not going to be disrespectful communicating with me. And I'm going to tell you one time to keep your mouth off of something. You do it again, girl, I'm either have to put my hands on you or I'm going to just cut it off. I have a child. I'm not going to be fighting you. So I had to cut it off. But my mom, that was the one friend that my mom was always like, I told you I didn't like her. So I haven't even my mom. I was just like, my mama said she didn't like you. I known her for 13 years, But and her thing was that we never go out. I'm like, we don't go out because you're not my caliber to take out. You're the friend that I can stay at home with. I can come to your house. You're not coming to my house. We're not going to go to Napa to go wine tasting because you don't know how to act.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we had a conversation about friendships and things like that there, and it's true. Some people are not, let's say, A-level friends. They may be a B-level friend, and as long as you and they understand what their role is, that's fine.
And she did it.
They want to try to step up to something that they're not capable of. And you got to say, this. So you got an audience. He's got an audience.
So that just had to end. I have no problem with cutting ties with friends, and I try to do it the most peaceful way I could. And I did, and left it at that. I have another girlfriend that I met. We just recently went to Atlanta in October for my cousin's birthday, and she introduced me to her girlfriends, and then we had a mutual friend. So it was really good. And that was my first girls trip. And normally girls trip don't go good because somebody's short on money and somebody don't know how to dress and somebody's using other people's stuff. Somebody gets too drunk and somebody did absolutely get too drunk. And then she got checked about that. Nobody was short on money because I had it all paid for. So I just like to thank my mother and my father for my looks.
Okay.
But you know, I found out that one of the girls, she's into politics and she actually is running for the student council for a high school that I went to. And I was like, oh, girl, you smart? Girl? Oh, you guys are all activists? You guys were marching? You guys travel to go march with other people? Like, I love that because I wanted to get out there so bad and go march. And my mom was like, you better not go. You better not go. And then my boyfriend was freaked out, like, okay, what if this happens to you? What if that happens to you? And I was just like, okay, you guys are starting to freak me out now. So now I have to stay on the background and cheer my friends on at home, watching them on the news and stuff. But I was like, oh, these are the people that I want to be around. So I truly enjoyed these ladies. These new ladies are in my life, definitely. And we all uplift each other genuinely. Sorry.
It's interesting that when I was young in high school, we had I guess, a rebellious attitude. And it was one of those things that, you complain about doing, or something was happening in school that we didn't like. And we talk about among each other, but we wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then one day it was just decided we're going to walk out of school because we were tired of it. And, and so we did it. And it's one of those experiences that you find yourself in, hopefully it doesn't go wrong.
Yeah.
You find yourself empowered to realize that you do have power to make a change, but you have to do something. Now, whether it's walking out or speaking up or writing a letter, there's many different ways to do it. But at least you have an opportunity to experience the fact that I can make a difference. I can do that, And later on in life, I was at the Million Man March, and it was just amazing situation because before I left, I took the train. I was worried, that you get down there and people that you don't know, they might start acting stupid. And then what are you going to do? You want to be supportive of the issue, but I don't want any trouble.
Right.
I want to do what I can do. But it was such a wonderful event, and what struck me so much was on the train, I'm coming from New York going to DC. You get on the train and you see, folks, okay, because it's the subway. Then you get off the subway and you get on the Amtrak and you see black folks, more than what you would think.
Yeah.
Then when the train got to the station, you see the black men. And then as we walked from the station to the, what they call it, the Great Garden or whatever that thing is there, the Lincoln situation, you start to see all the men walking together,
That's beautiful.
and you start to feel that we are doing the right thing. This is the right thing. We should show up and let people understand that what you're doing is wrong,
Yeah.
And it's not fair. And so it was a great day that day, Some people came back and actually did things in their communities, which was the whole purpose of it. And some of us kind of, didn't, but that's okay. At least, we came back and we tried. And so nowadays, with this whole Black Lives Matter, we talked about that. But with the media being what it is, you get so much information so quickly, it's easy to get distracted and confused. Black Lives Matter, the people who started that have an agenda. And it's not purely about Black Lives Matter, if you ever read that. And we talked about that here, and it was very interesting. The slogan works, people get your point real quick. They don't have to think about it. But then when you start to see, well, this is where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
These are the issues that they have on their platform. Some of those things you may sit back and say, I'm not in that one.
Oh, right.
That was nothing to do with me, you know. And the one that really sticks out is what gay rights or something like that there. You know, personally, whatever you do, that's your business. I didn't ask to know. I don't want to know. And don't try to make me know. That's where we have a problem. You try to make me know what your business is. I'm not comfortable with that.
Mm.
And so when you put that together with Black Lives Matter,
Those are two different topics.
yeah, you start to confuse the issue.
There's another community for that.
Yeah, and you got people standing there saying, well, I'm here for the Black Lives Matter piece. I don't know nothing about this other thing,
Yeah.
you know? And now you got me labeled standing there as if, well, you here for the gay rights. Gay rights, that's their business. You know, if I was gay, I certainly wouldn't be telling you about it. So why are you trying to tell me about it?
Yeah.
But anyway, get away from that.
Yeah. It's a different community.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, it's good to be proactive and to get involved in things. You know, you can always volunteer to do different things or whatever. People don't volunteer a lot, but it's always good, you know, to volunteer, help out, things like that there. But we were talking about changing friends when as you start to mature and grow up, you start to see, well, there's some things I want. I want a house. Great. No, I want a big house. I want a mansion.
I want the land, and then we can build a couple of houses.
Right. So now I'm not trying to hang out with you because all you want is a cabin. I want somebody who wants some land.
No, I'm not trying to hang out with you because you're too busy trying to get on the list for Section 8. I'm not doing that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to stay there.
Right.
You know, if I can get ahead, then that's what I want to do. So I know Alvin talks a lot about the rent to own. And at first I was like, no. And now I'm like, okay, our credit's getting kind of nice. Maybe next year we can rent to own.
Well, see, with the rent to own, and we've talked about really, you ain't saying nothing, man. I don't understand you. Usually you got a whole lot to say.
It's like boom, 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 boom.
I'm just kidding.
We talked about real estate investing, and we'll probably talk about it again. No big deal.
Yeah.
But when you said rent to own, which is always nice, what would be a little better would be, I'm not going to rent a house to own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to rent a 4-family to own, because that means I got an opportunity for 3 other families to come in and help me buy this place, you see, as opposed to you just being the one person in the one house trying to work and buy the house. See what I'm saying?
No, elaborate on it a little bit more, because are they going to be like in it? Like, oh, we know you're renting to own, so we want a piece of the pie too. I don't want to do that.
Well, they would not be in that because they would be coming to the real estate office to find an apartment because you already got it.
Okay.
To rent to own.
Okay.
So they would, and if they wanted to come in, they would have to have a conversation with you. Do you want to let them in?
That's not for me.
You may say, wait. You may say no right now. I understand that, but then when you in it and you start to see what this is how the money's flowing, I might have, for example, you are renting to own a place. Let's say it's got 4 apartments in it. You're living in one apartment and you got 3 other people in there, 3 other couples or whatever in there. And one of them says, look, I want a piece of this action. Oh, so you want to buy in? Yeah. That means you're going to come up with some cash to buy in, right? Right. Okay. Now that cash is going to go to who? You. I would imagine you might use that to reduce the obligation.
Of course.
But that's your decision to make. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if you tell them that you're going to do that, then you're on the hook for that. But if you just say, look, you want to buy it because I've already got equity in this. The first paycheck, the first mortgage payment I made, I got some equity in this house now.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy in, you need to give me back my equity at the value that I think it's worth.
Okay.
Okay. So, but the thing is, until you see the numbers, don't make up your mind type of a thing. Well, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? First look at the numbers and then say, oh, that don't work for me. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I can't live with other families. It's no, I don't do the roommate thingy. I can't do it. And then I got my man too. No, it's just too much personalities, different energies. We all operate different. I can't find it in me to do that. I'm sorry.
I got a recommendation.
Sure.
If your credit is good, you really shouldn't do rent to own, because all you're doing is paying somebody else's mortgage. You got a higher probability of financing a house on your own. You'll be paying the same, probably less than what you'll be paying for rent to own.
Okay.
So it'll be beneficial to do that. But as long as your credit score is high enough, because most people do rent to own when their credit score is not high enough. So if you know that your credit score is high enough,
Okay.
with your bank, they should give you a good, decent rate. And then that way you're not paying somebody else's mortgage for them to turn around and say, well, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and sell it now. And you're out of a place and out of all the money that you done put into it. So all this stuff is something that you should look into. I mean, I'm not saying
definitely. I definitely take into consideration of his opinions and his suggestions, but I definitely am going to do research behind everything because there's too much paperwork behind it. I just recently saw in the news just like simple stuff. I think there is something in the mortgage contracts about how if there's a Black family there that wants to buy, it drops something within the neighborhood. It's something like that. But I have to read everything because a white woman and her family, they were buying a home and they read that, they came across that, and they took it to the news. They was like, we ain't doing this. She was like, this is racist.
Yeah.
I don't live somewhere where it's like that. And so I was like, whoa. And they did that back when Black people first were able to start buying homes. So I was like, that's crazy.
Well, and some deeds have that buried in there that you could only sell a property to whatever. But again, you're going to have an attorney who's going to work with you on that. So
I wouldn't even think to have an attorney. See, stuff like that. I wouldn't even know. Nope. I'm like, let's just save the money, babe. All right, let's go start looking. I swear, I probably.
Real estate agents, they have attorneys, but I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have an attorney look over the contract for yourself because it is something that you're committing to.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I understand what you're saying, but the reality is if you're going to get some financing from somebody else to make the deal happen, you're going to have an attorney. Okay, because they're going to want to make sure that you're covered and that they are covered, which only makes sense. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because you definitely don't, whatever money you have, you don't want to lose it because you say, oh, well, I don't want to pay attorney's fees. No, I have a problem paying an attorney fee because they have insurance.
Exactly.
If they make a mistake, they will be sued.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. But anyway, so we'll be talking about things like that from time to time because they're conversations that people have. And as a father, grandfather, great grandfather, because of your son, I'm a great grandfather. There'll always be conversation to have. You frozen? Yeah, she's frozen. Well, she'll come back, I hope. So where we at? We hit an hour, man. We gotta check
my commercial, infomercial. At this time, we would like to extend the invitation for any recommendations for topics to discuss. Please send them in the comments block, and we appreciate everybody participating in the weekly viewing of our show.
Okay. Well, maybe she'll come back, not, but we're going to say good night. we're going to thank you for participating. Thank you, William, for participating. And thank you, Yasmin, for being our guest. She is actually my granddaughter. And so we'll say good night and God bless.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.